Hello everyone and welcome. If you've found this channel, there's a good chance you've questions like, why do I react so differently from other people? Why do some relationships seem effortless while others constantly feel difficult? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? Or perhaps you've fallen down the rabbit hole of personality systems, MBTI, the Enneagram, Big Five, and wondered whether any of them actually explain who we are. Over the next series of videos, we're going to explore those questions together. This isn't going to be a channel about putting people into little boxes. Instead, it's about learning to understand ourselves and one another more accurately. The better we understand communication, relationships, work, learning, and ultimately our own personal growth. One of the biggest misconceptions about personality is that it's simply about labels. People often say things like, I'm an INFJ, she's an ESTP, he's definitely a type 8. But those labels aren't the destination, they're simply attempts to describe patterns. The real question isn't what label am I? The real question is, how does my mind naturally process information and make decisions? That is a much more interesting question. So over the last century, psychologists and researchers have proposed many different ways of answering it. Some focus on behavior, some focus on traits, some focus on motivation. Others try to understand the underlying mental processes that produce those behaviors. Each system offers a different lens. Some are incredibly useful, some are less useful. Some explain certain things very well while leaving other questions unanswered. Throughout this course, we'll compare these perspectives carefully rather than assuming any single system has all the answers. The backbone of this series will be the Objective Personality System, often called OPS. I believe it provides one of the most detailed and practical frameworks for understanding differences in cognition and especially behavior. However, we'll also look at Carl Jung's original ideas, Harry Murrell from Cognitive Personality System, and later on we'll explore concepts from Jungian psychology and psychological development. My goal isn't to convince you that one framework is perfect. My goal is to help you think more clearly about personality itself. Something you'll probably notice is that I like diagrams. Wherever possible, I'll draw ideas rather than simply describe them. I believe good diagrams allow us to understand complex ideas much faster than words alone. Throughout this course, I'll also be developing my own visual way of explaining personality concepts so that we can gradually build a complete mental map together. Another important point before we begin, this isn't a course about predicting every detail of a person's life. Personality doesn't explain everything. Our upbringing matters, our culture matters, our experiences matter, trauma matters, education matters, health matters, life circumstances matter. Personality is one important part of understanding people, but it isn't the whole picture. Keeping that perspective helps us avoid turning personality into a stereotype or an excuse. So, why study personality? Because personality gives us a language for discussing differences that otherwise seem confusing. It helps us appreciate why intelligent people can disagree, why people notice different things, why they solve problems differently, why some people seek certainty while others seek possibilities, why some recharge alone while others through interaction, and why conflict happens, and why growth often begins with understanding honestly. If you're completely new to personality theory, don't worry. We'll build this course step by step. Each lesson will introduce just one new concept before moving on to the next. By the end, you'll have a framework that helps you understand not only personality systems, but also the people around you, including yourself. So in the next lesson, we'll go back to the beginning and ask a simple question. Who was Carl Jung? And why do so many modern personality systems trace their roots back to his work? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.